I'm Zach.
And I'm Josh.
And this is a pineapple.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, fellow nerds. It is good to be back once again. Welcome to a new video of Mandalorian chapter 14. 14 is it?
14.
All right. I just have one question. We have been like we mentioned last week. We've been neglecting a fellow member of our cast,
Yeah,
and he
so.
hasn't even gotten to talk or
He hasn't gotten
give
to share
his
his
thoughts.
opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
So
totally
with that
right.
being said, Mr. Napple, how do you feel about the Mandalorian? That's a good opinion.
Seems
Mr.
legit
Napple.
to me.
Seems,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a
I
good
never
insight.
thought about it that
I didn't.
way.
Neither did I.
I would have never guessed that.
I don't know. What's that, Mr. Napple? Does that should do the summary now? I think we're going insane talking to him.
All right. Summary it is. So, the scene opens and the Razor Crest is going right into Tython. So there is no wait like we thought there was going to be. There's no big reveal. It's straight. We're on Tython now. They see the Jedi Temple, or what it looks like is an old Jedi Temple / altar.
Did Ahsoka give him the coordinates to Tython? Is Tython a well-known planet that just people don't go to normally with the Jedi Temple thing? That's just a thought that literally just popped in my head.
Where did he get the coordinates to Tython?
Maybe she did.
No, because it can't be well known. Because if it was well known, the Empire would have taken it out long ago. Wow. So anyway, they're going down and they see it, and right away, he's like, "Whoa, well that must be the place. Let's land." So they do a circle, and then they land, and goes right into it. He takes Grogu.
Jetpacks out of the.
Oh right, yes, because he's like, "Oh, we can't get close enough."
Well, what's weird is it in the episode it seemed like you jetpacked out of it while the Razor Crest was midair. But
Maybe
later,
autopilot landed.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I'm guessing. It's technology's there, so it's possible. So anyway, so he goes right to it. He sits Grogu down, and he's like, "All right, do your thing." Nothing happens for a little bit. He's just kind of sitting there being cute because they need to get those scenes in, and it worked. It actually had a purpose. And then randomly, just like tractor beam looking thing. It's not a tractor beam, but light all around him. He starts meditating. There's the wind blowing. There's like this force music going on in the background, and everything's going good. You can tell he's communicating with somebody, or he's at least reaching out in the force, right? So Mando's just kind of watching this all happen, and then lo and behold, out of nowhere, Slave One out in the distance just pops into the screen, comes, and you see it, and everybody's freaking out because it's Slave One. And we all know what's going to happen next. And sure enough, Mando sees it. He's like, "Kid, we gotta go. Tries to get Grogu. Doesn't work. The force field literally pushes him back. So he's like, "All right, I'll protect you. You do your thing. I hope you can hear me." He goes down to confront Boba Fett. And Boba Fett basically gives him the spiel. "I want my armor. It's not yours. Give it to me." They have this whole confrontation. And they're going back and forth. "I'll shoot you, I'll do this." And then, I forget her name, but the other bounty hunter that was after them is still alive because Boba rescued her, and she's got a sniper on Grogu, and basically they come to this very, very short conclusion because second plot twist of the episode, I mean, we could probably see it coming. Stormtroopers show up out of the blue, they start blasting at everything. So now, this distracts Mando. He's trying to protect Grogu. So now Boba Fett goes. He gets his armor. Big reveal there. He comes out. He hacks a bunch of stormtroopers down. And then, the saddest part of the episode, in my opinion, there comes a missile, blows Razor Crest to smithereens.
You're ahead.
Am I ahead?
Robots were before.
Robots?
Dark Troopers.
My bad.
Dark
Why
Troopers.
you just ruined my thunder?
Dark Troopers. I'm just saying, you were
Alright,
ahead.
Mr. Napple, what came first?
See? I was right. I'm always right.
My apologies, everybody. You are always
Actually,
right,
I don't
Josh.
know if I'm right. I'm just taking the liberty of being right. I believe it happened
So
first
it's gonna
because
be nothing.
okay, we'll discuss this real quick.
Okay,
We haven't seen the episode a second time.
that's true.
What happens, I believe, is Moff Gideon sends down the Dark Troopers.
Okay.
They get Grogu, and as soon as that happens, he's trying to race up there, right? And he's too late when he gets to the top. The Dark Troopers already have him. So then Mando's like, crap, they got him. He doesn't have his jetpack, so he's running back down the hill. As he's running back down the hill, that's when the laser thing, boom, crashes on the laser crest because it stops them from going back up. Why a second one didn't hit Slave One is besides the point, I guess. Maybe the Empire didn't see it somehow.
I don't know.
That's besides the point. They weren't really looking for it.
Either way, whether you're right or wrong, we don't have to get into it too much. Either way, it happens. Razor Crest is blown to like Kingdom Come. It's gone. There's nothing left. There will be no more repairs after this.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, they'll just build it from scratch.
You make a giant sword called the Razor Crest.
Oh.
Like a sword.
Okay. Anyways, Grogu does come out of his Jedi trance, if you will, and as soon as he does, Dark Troopers surrounding him. They land. They take him.
The first time we've seen them, like they're
live
robots.
action. Yeah.
I believe it was in like Legends. I think I don't exactly know where they came from, but it's the first time we're seeing them, which was cool.
Yeah.
It was definitely Star Warsy. Like it's believable in the Star Wars universe. Like robots are completely believable.
Yeah.
And they like with astromech droids, R2 units.
It made sense.
Bounty hunter droids.
It didn't seem like a stretch.
Right. It wasn't weird. It made sense. For
right.
Star Wars.
And exactly. So they take him, unfortunately, and
It was good.
so Boba Fett, he made some pact basically saying that if he got his armor back, that he would swear to protect Grogu to make sure he's safe. Well, he kind of goes extended with that, and he makes it a point to chase after the Dark Troopers, and that's when he sees up in the sky a giant Imperial cruiser, and he has this big, oh, the Empire's back, and it was really dramatic and really cool in my opinion. But it ends basically on that note. The next scene, we see them band together, Mando, the other bounty hunter, and Boba Fett. They go back to Navarro at the very end, and they talk to
Grief and Dune.
Yep, Grief and Dune. And sad as it is, that's where it leaves off. So
I think it left off on a happy note. Honestly, it's pretty happy.
what do you got against Grogu? Huh?
It's pretty happy. No, it was a happy moment.
It was a happy moment they were together. It was really sad that they have to be back together.
Rooting for the bad guys.
Oh yeah?
Bad guys won.
So anyway, Josh, we have one main question. Is
this
it the
the
way?
way? Well, Mando picks up only like two things as far as we know that he picks up from the remnants of Razor Crest is the ball that means a lot to the child. Or doesn't necessarily mean a lot to him, but it's the thing that the child loves.
It's their unspoken
and
bond.
it's right. It's what bonds them together in a way. And the Beskar spear.
Yes.
I was missing the word Beskar. Beskar spear also survives, so I think we can expect a dark saber and a Beskar spear fight. There's no way it's not going to happen. Especially just the dramatic him picking up the spear and walking out with it. There's no way it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? If it doesn't happen, I'll be completely surprised.
I would be taken aback.
Right. Does Mando have? I'm sure he has skill in it. Like he's a Mandalorian. He doesn't just have skill in weapons. It's not weapon.
Well, I mean, we've seen his
Guns.
nice skills. We've seen his nice skills.
Right.
His hand-to-hand combat.
I'm sure
skills.
he has, like spear skills.
Yep.
I'm not sure how well he does, but I'm sure he does.
I'd also be surprised if they don't have that fight because I'm not sure Ahsoka's coming back. It really did seem like that was her story in this at least season, if not the series. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she came back, but at the same time, it doesn't look like she's going to.
Yeah.
So I'd be surprised if we didn't see the Beskar spear and the Darksaber. I think it's I think it's gonna happen.
So the next thing we can talk about is Grogu, the child, meditating on the rock thing. It was pretty cool to see.
It was one of my favorites.
Right, it was like one of those things that you haven't really seen meditation to that point except in the game Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Like other than that, it's usually just them doing their whole meditation thing, but you haven't seen it to that extent before, other than the Fallen Order. I thought it was really cool, but apparently the Force is blue. I don't know if that's.
I don't know if that represented the actual Force.
It was a joke.
Okay.
I got you there.
You did. Oh my. I thought it was really cool too. It was one of my favorite scenes because in this moment, like, I know Mandalorian has had this very different Star Wars theme for a long time. Like, it's felt Star Wars, but, I mean, the other term we use is space western. It's felt like a space western, and we've been okay with that. But this was one of the rare scenes that I've seen that as soon as that happened, it captivated me the way Star Wars used to captivate me, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Like, the whole show's captivated me, but that specific scene was like, it felt Star Wars. Does that make sense? Does that make sense at all? Like, it made me feel like I was watching Luke on Dagobah for the first time again, kind of thing. Like, it really felt Star Wars, and I was very impressed by it. And I also like how the way they did it visually portrayed the Force as, even if you're young or you don't quite understand it or you're a baby or whatnot, when you tap into the Force, it really is that energy field that surpasses all reason and understanding. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about that?
I think it makes sense. Whether it should have been the episode is here nor there. I'm kidding.
Are you? Are you kidding?
Mostly. Partly.
Okay.
We're going to touch one more point, and then we're going to get to the, not debate, but just discussion part of this.
Yeah.
And that's just Boba Fett, in a way he doesn't go good, like we discussed just before this.
Right, yes.
But he's gone from, wanting to, willing to shoot the child in order to get his armor back, right? To hey, I'm going to protect the child, but that's just sort of, if you think about it, that's just the way the bounty hunter works, right? He's going to do whatever he can to do what he needs to do, and then he's like, hey, I made this deal, so I got to go through with it.
It makes him very radical, I think.
Right, I think that's always been the mentality of Boba Fett.
Okay.
I mean, yes, it definitely gives off that good guy feel to it, 100% it does, but I think that's just always been the mentality of Boba Fett, just like, hey,
he's devoted to his mission.
Right, I'm devoted to this, I'm going to do this. I'm done.
That makes sense. Okay, and because we had a discussion about this earlier, where I wasn't sure about it because I was like, I don't know about his kind of good streak that it looks like it's posing as, because, and I know
I could be wrong.
Well, what you said really makes sense because in the beginning he was like, I literally will shoot that baby if you do not give me. Yeah, he's 50, but okay. I will shoot him if you don't give me my armor. If you give me the armor, I promise you I'll do everything I can to keep him safe. And then he gets the armor, and he straight up goes to, I'm going to join your cause to keep him safe.
Mm-hmm.
Which it comes off as noble and comes off as a flip, I think, because of the way they portrayed the scene.
Right. We could be wrong, and it could just be him doing a good guy turn. But I'd like to think about that, and I hope that's the way it goes, instead of him just being good.
Right.
Because it doesn't really make sense, especially in his old age. It just doesn't make sense for him now to change his mind about everything. People change their mind. Darth Vader, in the end, changed his ways.
But it was super sudden. Like, there wasn't really a build-up. Because in the same episode, he was going... he quoted his dad, simple man making his way through the universe, but one main point he said was, I swear my allegiance to no one. Like, I work for me. Which also gives that edge of, okay, maybe he is just... working for himself. This is his creed that he made for himself. So it's not for the better of Grogu. Maybe it's literally just, no, I said I would do this. I make my own rules. I'm going to do this. So it could be either or. We'll see. I personally hope he stays Stone Cold Bounty Hunter, but just me. Real quick point. What did you think about his knee blaster? Or his little knee rocket launcher?
I think it was sort of stupid.
You didn't like it?
No.
No? Oh, well.
It didn't make sense. Nor was it discussed before. Nor was it a piece of armor that we knew existed before. So it didn't really make sense overall. It was just sort of random.
I liked it. Why? I just thought it was cool. slams his foot down and then shoots people. I mean,
But there's no practicality.
no, I know, but it's like Pacific Rim. What is the point of Pacific Rim when you really boil it down?
No one likes Pacific
Everybody
Rim.
loves Pacific Rim. You know why they love Pacific Rim?
I said no one likes Pacific Rim.
I know, but everybody does. You know why they do.
But no one likes Pacific Rim.
Everybody likes Pacific Rim because of one reason. Because giant robots fight giant aliens. That's it. You don't need like a reason or an in-depth story.
There you go.
You know what?
I do.
He's peeved.
No, I just need a story. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't always need a story.
I always need a story.
You always need a story.
I am not kidding. I always need a story. I'm not going to.
Joshua, we're arguing.
This is debate. It's just we're not arguing about it.
You're attacking me.
I'm attacking. Hey, you know what? I'm okay with attacking him. He deserves it. Being wrong. Do you agree, Mr. Nape?
He's right.
Well,
When you're right, you're right. And you're
I'm
always
always
right.
But anyways, what we were just talking about?
We were talking about essentially Boba and whether or not he's going good. Aside from that, let's get to our next point, Josh.
Okay. No, we were talking about story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's gonna transition right into what we want to talk about, what we want to end with. But yeah, when it comes to me, I always need a story, or I'm not gonna enjoy it, and that comes with anything, video games, you know.
Okay.
I mean, guess board games don't really count, but like a movie, a TV show, I need good story. I don't want a thing that just doesn't make sense. Like,
Okay.
that's not even
That's
saying
understandable.
like the second episode of season 2 for Mandalorian. That didn't have like a whole lot of story to it, but it had reasoning behind it. It was there and it was good. So I guess you can sort of say that isn't story. So I guess I'm partly wrong for myself.
Okay.
But for the most part, I need good story. Anyways, that transitions into the next part. So a lot of people like The Mandalorian, which is great. Like towards the beginning of the second season, people were worried. I was worried.
I was worried.
I still am. Most people aren't worried anymore, which is completely fine. That's just, they like the show, and that's great. I'm not saying I dislike the show. I want to make that extremely clear with you, with the camera. I do not dislike the show by any means, but I want to get points across. So, in the beginning of Mandalorian's life, like with the first trailers, right? It looked like a space western, right? Like it looked like a bounty hunter who was going to go around his business and do bounty hunter stuff.
Yeah.
And that excited me a lot. Come Mandalorian, the very end of the first episode, the child comes along and completely changes the atmosphere. And throughout that entire season, throughout this season, completely changed the atmosphere of the show.
Yeah.
Is that good or bad? That's the...
Remains to be seen.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It remains to be seen until the future. I really can't judge that right now. But I can definitely say part of it disappoints me in a way. I was excited to see a bounty hunter go around the galaxy and blast things up, you know, do bounties and have story, but just like have a bounty hunter show. I thought that would be really, really cool. And with that, anyways, another thing is it sort of has gone from Mando being a bounty hunter to, hey, here are all these side characters. You're still the main character, but here are all these side characters. Their story sort of matters just as much as yours does. Which, storytelling, yeah, sure, their story should matter as much as his does, but it shouldn't be on the forefront as much as his story is. Like, they're equally there on the forefront. Okay. And, again, I don't dislike it, but it's starting to bother me a little bit as I watch the show. As I'm sitting there watching it, I'm just like, hey, I really want to see more of Din Djarin. I want to see more of him. I want to see development from him. Not that he hasn't had character development, because he has.
You want more him and
right.
less everybody else.
He's had development through the child, right? But I want him, and the thing is about this is my mind now, and I'm pretty much convinced about it. I don't think he's ever going to go back to that bounty hunting way. I really don't. This has changed his life, which is completely fun in a storytelling aspect, right? It's great. He's been changed by this entire thing, which is cool. But what is he supposed to do after this? Only knowing one thing for his entire life, right? After the child, he needs something after the child. I personally don't think him and the child should just explore the galaxy together. I really don't. I don't know where they're going with that. And that's to be seen. Again, that's why I'm not saying I dislike the show. I loved the first season. I've loved this next season. I'm just extremely worried. There's things that are just bothering me. So don't get me wrong on that. And now you can interject. Just give me your thoughts on what I'm thinking. Give me your own thoughts, all that. I talked a lot.
Not to debate too much, because there are things I agree with you on, there are things I disagree with you on, but even the things I disagree with, I completely understand your point. Because I think we all had that same feeling where when the show first popped up, it was, wow, this is going to be a bounty hunter show. Like, we're going to watch him literally get bounties. And it's going to be his struggles as he chases down these different targets, right? That's just one example, but that's a pretty standard bounty hunter
Right,
show.
exactly.
I was excited to see more of that because they really opened it up like that with the show, where he did get a bounty. We got to stop the carbonite, which is a huge development based on where it was as a technology in Empire to now.
Exactly.
Like, huge development. So, going on with that, I was excited too, just like you were. I knew that as soon as the child popped up, I knew that was going to change everything. I mean, we all did, obviously. And it was a very telling point in the show because it was, what kind of character are they building? Are they building the, I'm a bounty hunter, this is my job, I don't care who it is? Or are they going to make him go soft, in a sense, and protect the child? Which they did. Not too surprised, a little surprised, not really, but anyway, coming off of that tirade, I am not necessarily upset with where they went with it. I definitely wish we could have seen that bounty hunter show, but I'm not disappointed that we didn't, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I'm not necessarily disappointed about it either.
I agree with you in the sense that we are getting a lot of side characters that are coming into the story, which that's okay. I think they're doing a good job with it. However, it would have been nice to keep it solely a Mando story, where there wasn't really any official known characters. Mention of them, but no official known.
I mean, even if they did, right? Just like, I mean, this still wouldn't really make me fully happy, I don't think.
I think,
but judging on how it's like 40 minutes, 36 minutes long, make it like a full hour long and just add more Mando. I don't know how possible that would be, but I think just to lather what you're saying, just make it strictly Din Djarin would be better.
If I'm being honest, my biggest concern with how they're going about new characters and whatnot is really how they're marketing it. I mean, we've known that these new characters are going to be in the show for months. Like months before the show even, the second season even came out. And that's bugged me. Like, if in the last episode, when the scene opened up with Ahsoka busting through the forest like she did.
Holy crap, I would have been surprised.
Legitimately. And I think that surprise would have
or the name drop by Bo-Katan would have been a surprise, period.
Right.
But we weren't because it was literally announced months before.
Right.
Rosario Dawson and the guy who plays Jango Fett.
And I think that's what's taken a toll on it, Josh. I think that that's part of the hype of the characters coming to the live action screen is we knew it was going to happen. So instead of it being this big reveal randomly where it's like, oh my goodness, they're here, it's, oh, I wonder which episode it's going to be. And then they show up and you're kind of surprised, but at the same time you're not. You're like, oh, there they are. They're finally in the show. We expected this. And that's what takes it away from me. To my last point on this whole thing, I think that when they finally do give up Grogu, and I think they will, I think that Mando will move on. I think it's most likely possible that he's going to help rebuild Mandalore. And I thought that sorry to interrupt. I thought that would be a story point anyway. I thought it was at least a possibility. So I'm excited to see that if they go that way.
I think it should be. You know, I completely agree with you. I think we should help rebuild Mandalore. It should be a really good story, I think. They really have to go about it the right way. They really have to go through a storytelling standpoint. And that's hard when, hey, they're rebuilding Mandalore, and who are they fighting? And who they're fighting at that point has to really matter. Other than that, it's just him, walking around with Bo-Katan rebuilding Mandalore with Darksaber.
Right. Well, that opened me up to a thought. I think that we expected Mandalore to come up at some point, and I think we were for him helping rebuild Mandalore. I think what's tripping us up is we expected a good amount of the show to be bounty hunter stuff, bounty hunter stuff, bounty hunter stuff. Oh, there are these tales of Mandalore. Oh, we want to rebuild our people. And it be solely focused on the Mandalorian, both singular and plural.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we're getting this kind of sidetrack story with characters coming in. And there's all this going on, and all this going on. So it's kind of like they're doing... So you have all these stories coming in at once, and they're a little different than what we expected. Which, not that we should have our expectations met, because you don't want to be too harsh.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, we didn't expect this whole almost continuation of these stories that have already been completed.
Mm-hmm.
We thought this was solely a new story.
Right.
So I think that's the one thing that I think trips me up the most. And like I said, I love it. I think they're doing a good job holding their own. I think they're doing a good job with the characters, and I can't say I'm too worried about it. It's just taken a very different direction than I thought it was going
I think to interject as well,
but I like it.
You believe that they are going to move on from Grogu.
I think they are, without a doubt.
At this point, I don't think they are. The way the fans are reacting, the way that they're moving along their story, and that's why I'm really monotone about this, is I don't think they're going to, I want them to. I agree with you, I want them to move on. You think they're going to move on, and that's okay, you have that opinion. But just the way that I'm digesting this stuff, it doesn't feel like they're going to move on from it. And, I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yep.
Sort of thing. And as a heads up, that's just sort of how I roll with a lot of things across any media.
That's true.
Zach knows.
It's
I take a very, very, very negative stance on about everything until I see it all the way through.
Yep.
Except Endgame. I was very freaking hyped for Endgame, Avengers Endgame. But Infinity War, I was very scared. I almost did not go see it in theaters because of how scared I was that it was going to be a bad movie. It was not. It exceeded my expectations by a zillion because again, a lot of people probably think I'm a psychopath, but I go into movies thinking they're going to be the biggest pile of poo, and then when it is far beyond that and it's good, then it makes me even more happy than I already would have if I thought it was going to be a good movie. I know that's a really weird
I'm the exact
way
opposite, so that's why we're like...
Right, I think that's why it's a really weird way of going into things. I get that, it's just sort of how I do it.
Yeah.
So don't try to,
We know you love it, Josh.
Right.
It's okay. We know you love it.
There you go.
We know you love it. And I love it too, and I want to make that clear, even though I already have. I love what they're doing. I am worried, scared out of my wits right now because of different Star Wars stuff that we don't have to mention. But I think they're doing a good job.
The Last
John
of
Favreau's
a
doing a
Jedi
good
or
job.
something like that.
The what?
The Last of a Jedi or something.
If there was I heard this fan pitch for a sequel series, and the main character was Rey, and it was the worst pitch I've ever heard in my life, and I hope it never comes to pass.
Should I watch the video on the pitch?
No, don't,
okay,
don't. They even made trailers.
Oh.
Yeah.
The first trailer probably hyped you up, though.
First trailer really hyped me up.
Probably got disappointed after, right?
I still watch the Last Jedi trailer from time to time, and I legitimately watch the trailer, get hyped, and then as soon as I get done the trailer, I say to myself, or whoever I'm with, I cannot wait for that movie to come out. I'm not kidding. I do it. I go back to it every few months.
With that being said, I can't wait for that episode to come out. Up and coming is Chapter 15 of Mandalorian, and I think we sort of have a disagreement for this question here, but is it the way?
I think it is the way.
I don't know if it's the way.
And this is a pineapple!